Hi, this is Mark with Ease Investing. Today we're going to talk about why it is important for you to be able to calculate the extrinsic value. This is an important tool because this allows you to see how likely the option contract is going to close early or not. We can see that this $120 put that I sold is set to expire June 2026, but this option has a chance of closing before that if the stock goes down enough. We can see that AMD is currently at $87.53, well below the $120. If AMD were above $120, you do not need to know how to calculate the extrinsic value because this option contract is not going to close early. It's only when the stock is below your sold put price. To calculate the extrinsic value, you first need to calculate the intrinsic value. To calculate the intrinsic value, you simply take the $120 put and you subtract that from the current stock price, which is $87.53. This gives you a value of $32.47 for your intrinsic value. Now that you have the intrinsic value, you can move on to calculating the extrinsic value. For the extrinsic value, you simply take the current options contract price, which is $37.95, and you subtract that from your calculated intrinsic value, which was $32.47. This gives you a value of $5.48. This is important because if this value is below 10% of the current options contract price, the current options contract price is $37.95, so 10% of that is $3.79. If our calculated extrinsic value were below the $3.79, this option contract would have a higher chance of closing early. We can see, though, that our calculated extrinsic value of $5.48 is greater than the 10% of the current option contract price of $3.79, so this option contract is not very likely to close early. This is why it is important to be able to calculate the extrinsic value.